Hey everybody, I'm Jana Resenden, and I am on a mission to share my story in as real and vulnerable and embarrassingly raw way that I can, because I want you to know that you're not alone. And this is the first video that I've done, and what my plan is to spend the next few months broadcasting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, so you can catch me during your lunch break or maybe a replay later on the day. But I really want to spend this time letting you know that your story matters and sharing my story, because my story matters. And today I wanted to share a really beautiful truth that I was reminded of earlier this week at a Rob Bell event. And that truth is that suffering is a disruption that gives us an opportunity to wake up. So if you're my friend on Facebook, and if you've known me for any length of time, you know that 6.5 years ago, I lost my soulmate and the love of my life to brain cancer. But what some of you might not know is how we discovered that he even had a brain tumor in the first place. And that happened, it was over 10 years ago now. He was only 32 years old, and we were in the middle of really living an amazing dream life. So we were expats in China at the time. Our kids were really young. My daughter was not even 2 years old yet. My son was only 3. And Tim had been having some kind of weird symptoms, and we were planning a vacation to Singapore, which is basically like paradise, manufactured paradise in Asia. And we'd been planning a vacation there anyways. And so the doctors had just said, hey, when you get to town, just get an MRI or get it. They didn't even say that. They just said, why don't you get it checked out while you're there? So we pull into this beautiful hotel at an amazing resort and just kind of resume our normal vacation life. We went down to breakfast that morning, and we just happened to see a couple that we used to be neighbors with in Beijing. They had since moved on to Shanghai, and we hadn't even seen them for like the last 6 months. But we saw them at breakfast, and we're like, hey, how are you guys doing? We had a little chat. And in fact, they were with me at the pool. Let me just flip off that message. Later on the day, I was sitting there, and my kids were playing in the pool. They had floaties on. I was thinking, wow, this is a dream. There's clean air. It's a beautiful pool. And I get a phone call, and it's Tim, and he tells me, I have a brain tumor. It's the size of an avocado, and they're admitting me to the hospital. Is there any way that you can get down here? So, of course, you never think that you're going to hear something like that when you've got 2 beautiful babies swimming in the pool. But I felt super grateful and amazed that our neighbors just happened to be there. And I asked them if they would be willing to watch the kids while I got a cab and went down to the hospital. So I walk into this beautiful Western style medical facility with my bikini and a cover up, and walk up to the floor where Tim had a room, and we just held each other and cried. What can you say when you have a brain tumor? You don't know what's going to happen next. There really isn't anything to say, But what I did do was, get in my lock and load, make it work mode, and happened to reach out to my mother-in-law, and I asked her if she knew when my brother-in-law would be coming or where he was traveling in Asia. So it just so happened that one of Tim's brothers, and at that time, the kid's favorite uncle, was traveling in Asia, kind of on an all Asia tour. He and his friends were stopping in Japan to watch baseball games, and they were going to be coming to Beijing the following week to hang out with us for a while. And I knew they had a couple of other stops on the way. And so I really wanted to know, hey, is there any way he could kind of reroute his vacation and come meet us in Singapore. So I call my mother-in-law, and when she checks the itinerary and gets back on the phone, she tells me he's going to be landing in Singapore that day, just a couple of hours later. And I was completely blown away, of course. And I thought, wow, you know, we're so lucky. Look at how this is working out. Our neighbors are checked into the hotel, and my brother is going to be here from the United States, thousands of miles away, on the exact day that I need him. So it just so happened that I knew one Singaporean back in China. We were part of a small group together. And I thought, okay, I'm going to send her an email and see if she knows any good doctors, or she can recommend where would be the best hospital to get a second opinion and really make sure that what we're looking at is what we're looking at. So I sent her an email, and she emails me right away and says, Gianna, what hospital are you at? I'm here in Singapore. Something happened with our visas. We needed to be home for the next 30 days. I'm going to come pick you up at the hospital right now. So, sorry about that interruption, but basically it's my girlfriend emailing to tell me, I'm here in Singapore. I'm going to come and get you right now. So she comes to the hospital. She picks me up. She ends up spending the next few days taking me back and forth to doctor's appointments. Tim wasn't allowed to leave the hospital. He needed to spend the night in the hospital each night, but they would let him walk around a little bit during the day, which was completely amazing. But I ended up calling back home and kind of letting our pastor know what was going on. They were also really good friends, and they said to me right away, hey, we have some really good friends that lead a church there in Singapore. I'm going to reach out to them and see if she can call you tomorrow. And the next morning when I woke up to go down to breakfast, a woman walked up to me and she said, Are you Gianna Bressenden? And I said, yes. And she said, my name's Karen Louie. And it just so happened that that woman was the church leader that our pastor was recommending to me the night before. They had given them a phone call, and they were staying in the same hotel where I was staying. They happened to be on a retreat with another missionary couple that was visiting in town. So the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because I feel like at that time, when my heart was breaking and my world was ending, that was a time that I really learned that God knows what's going on and He cares. You know, I definitely had faith before that. I had really believed that, you know, God exists and that He takes care of us. But I felt like this was when my faith was really put to the test. And every single time I came back, hey, I got this. Hey, I got this. And that's what I want to share with you today, is that suffering is a disruption in our lives. But what it does is it gives us the opportunity to wake up to what's important, to wake up to what's real, to wake up to who you want to be and to what you want to do. When everything is stripped away and you just don't have any more energy to pretend like you're anything other than what you are or who you are, that's the time when miracles can happen. And something that I tell myself every day is that I have divine access to everything that I need. And I hope that that helps you in whatever it is that you're going through. So I just want to acknowledge and encourage you to acknowledge that wherever you're suffering, just let it hurt. Let it be, and know that this is going to be that opportunity for you to wake up to something real and something true. And I want to hear about it. Whatever it is, I want you to know that you're not alone and that your story matters. So if you are feeling brave, if you're feeling like you want to be vulnerable and raw and real too, I'd love it if you would private message me through Facebook, or if you have my phone number, call me, or my email me. But whatever it is, I want you to know that your story matters and I want to hear it. And I'll see you on Wednesday at noon Pacific Standard Time back here on Facebook.